Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my B.E.S deck, which is an acronym for Bacterian Empire Ship. This deck was requested by Lumpyrox, and it's an interesting archetype. It's honestly not that great, it's just kind of slow. It focuses on these tribute monsters that have interesting effects. They usually can't be destroyed by battle, and they have counters, and then they end up getting destroyed anyway. So they have some issues, but getting them out can really annoy your opponent for a little while. They'll have to rely on a lot of card effects to take these guys out, or they'll have to wait for you to kind of have your cards destroy on their own, which isn't a good idea for them because then you can start getting out, 6-star XYZs and things like that. So there's a few different ways to run this deck. You can run it with Machinas, you can run it on its own, you can focus on Boss Rush. With this deck I'm using Frogs. I find that works pretty well. This deck will look very similar to Frog Monarchs, and that's just the way I'm running it, but I find that doing it that way kind of goes against, their bad, like the things that run into. You'll see that I'm running them with Frogs, which I think is a good way to run them because it kind of goes against, them needing the tributes all the time and them having a difficulty getting out and stuff like that. I just find that this runs a lot better than, the traditional way to run them. So first off, we're going to have Tetran. So Tetran just can destroy spells and traps, which is very, very useful. Again, like the B.E.S cards, like I said before, can't be destroyed by battle, but eventually it will be destroyed by its counters. And then Big Core, so more of a beater than Tetran. So this one just, it can protect itself and can battle a little better. Then the Frogs, Swap Frog, obvious choice to special summon and get things to the graveyard. Treeborn Frog, obviously the engine behind this, allowing you to tribute it over and over and over again. Dupe Frog, just good for searching out and stalling for a little bit. Ronintoadin for more special summoning. Effect Veiler, we can't run, like Fiendish Chain in this type of deck. Can't run any back row, so Effect Veiler is very good. Also gives access to some Synchros. B.E.S Crystal Core is a really interesting one. This one just allows you to have a 5-star beater that also can change your opponent monsters to face up defense. So really, really good to annoy your opponent and roll through their monsters with lower defense. Then we have 2 Caius, the Shadow Monarch, just a really good card in a tribute-based deck like this. Jinzo, also really good to start locking down your opponent, and because he's a machine, it just works well with this kind of deck. Tragoedia and Gorz, you're not running any back row, so these are very good cards to have. 1 Battle Fader, you can run more if you want. Battle Fader is good to have because of, sometimes how this deck can be a little slow. So now for the spells, MST very important. We have no back row, so you need cards like this to be able to, even the playing field. Enemy Controller, just, broken with Treeborn Frog. I'm not going to get into that too much, but it's just, a really cheap thing that you can do is use Treeborn Frog to tribute and get it back and stuff. Creature Swap, really good in this deck because they'll get Treeborn Frog or one of your lower frogs, obviously. Soul Exchange, very good for this deck. Obviously, it's a tribute-based deck. Foolish Burial, good for setting up the graveyard. Lightning Vortex, good for setting up the graveyard and getting through the higher attack monsters that you might have trouble dealing with. Limiter Removal, even though it's kind of half machines, it's still good to have. When you start setting things up, you want to be able to get it done quick, so Limiter Removal is a very good choice. And then Dark Hole, 1-for-1 for getting what you need, and Book of Moon. So now for the extra deck, we're going to have 2 5- and 6-star XYZs along with some Synchros. Gachi Gachi, Daigusto, Dark Mist, always good choices. 5 stars not going to come out very often, but we still want the best ones in here, Volcasaurus and Tiras. Some of the best 6 stars you can get access to, Photon, number 25 is good, Ptolemy, Gauntlet Launcher, Gaia Dragon, obvious choices. And then with the Synchros, we're going to have access to a lot of different levels. So Miss Bird, Catastor, Iron Chain, Black Rose. Black Rose, obviously very easy to get out. And Scrap Dragon. Just the obvious choices. Not too much to say about that extra deck. But getting out those 6-star XYZs will be really nice. So now for the side deck. Again, side decks in my videos are just kind of recommended cards when you're also, building the type of deck. You want to look at these cards, maybe think about what kind of build you can make. It isn't like a side deck for matches. So another build you can run with these guys is Machinas. Works really well, allowing you to just have tribute fodder and stuff like that and getting these guys out very nicely. There's, a few other B.E.S cards. Covered Core is a double tribute, so it kind of annoys me. But his effect doesn't destroy himself as often, so that's kind of nice. Big Core MK2 can also be useful, kind of like Cyber Dragon, except it's a normal summon. Interesting, but still not a really good choice for me because I'm focusing more on just tributing. In any like Monarch based, not Monarch based, but more of like a Tribute Frog engine based deck, Light and Darkness Dragon, Mobius can be good. Cards like this that are tribute monsters that are really good. The two like interplanetary cards can be really good as well because you'll get access to 5-star XYZs, and the 5-star XYZs are really good, so that could be a good choice. And you end up losing your frog monsters pretty often, so that can be really good. So kind of the staple card of this deck that I'm not using is Boss Rush. The idea behind Boss Rush is just that you can keep exchanging cards from your deck and keep bringing out these B.E.S cards. It's just not the type of deck I'm running, but a Boss Rush B.E.S deck is like the normal, I guess, type of deck people would run. It's just, it didn't really appeal to me how it works. If you do run this, I would say to run cards like Kaiser Coliseum, things like that. You'll end up locking down your opponent very nicely. I might try a different deck that uses this at some point, but not currently what I'm doing. Double Summon can be really good in this deck. Mausoleum, obviously, for a deck that needs to get out tribute monsters. Cost down, Star Blast for the same reason, can be very helpful with a lot of the different builds you can use. Call the Haunted, really good for getting back some of your monsters, enabling you to do XYZs very easily. Scrap Iron Scarecrow, stall cards, the Swift Scarecrow, all those cards can be really good when you want to set up these tributes. And Cyber Summon Blaster is another interesting one. If you're doing a lot of special summoning of machines, this could be good. This could be really good, combination with the Machinas or Boss Rush. If you keep doing special summoning and recycling with Boss Rush, you can kind of turn it into like a hybrid burn deck. But, that's some of the ideas you can kind of think about with this deck. Not really the type of thing I'm doing. Again, more of a frog engine, but still some interesting choices you can do. Because this archetype isn't that strong, I just wanted to go with what I think might work best for me. But definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys can come up with. If you guys have your own B.E.S decks, post below. Let me know in the comments. Talk about what cards you use. Make suggestions for me and that kind of thing. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.